Hi guys, welcome to Robin Hood Diaries again today. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining me, and glad you could be here today, 5 months from now, whatever. I preview today as kind of sort of like a smudged picture of this dude that really, I inferred, of course, in the title that was not like the one that got away, but like the one that came closest to being potential partnership material. There was a period of time in there, like I said, look, we all know ad nauseum, Tim, John, my favorite chapter in my next book. And then after Johnny, this weird running with the wolves and drag and alcoholism, whatever. So I'm weaning myself off of that. This is weeks before I meet my husband. Now I'm not saying I don't drink or, but drag was becoming tiresome. I was already writing for the underground magazines, and I was kind of like trying to, I guess, kind of buckle down and revisit the idea of dating. When you're running around in drag 4 or 5 days a week and you're writing for magazines and you're working for the Centers for Disease Control, walking around in blue hair on Santa Monica Boulevard, there's not a lot of time for a boyfriend. So I am lonely in one of the most famous disco club, whatever, not Studio One, all hail Studio One. And he meets me on a very lonely night. I'm like looking, I remember particularly bizarre that night. When I was in gay clubs, I was not a social butterfly. I was the guy in the corner with the Heineken looking around and swigging his beer and not flirting. But I was, this gentleman, I'll call him T, in the preview picture, was so sweet. I don't know if he picked up on my state of mind, but he came over, not offering me a drink or whatever. I'm just leaning up, looking at the dance floor, and he's just really generally sweet and interested in me, and that was it. He was gorgeous, of course, and I'm thinking, why are you paying attention to me tonight? So there was all these little coffee houses around back then, and there's one across San Vicente. So we went there, visited for a while, cut to the next day. So here we are, and we're spending time in my apartment on Horn, which is right over above Tower Records with this great view. Except this was the apartment below the one with the great view, because that's where I stayed. Then I met my husband and we moved on up to the second floor with the view. So that's where I'm staying, and that's where we're kind of based out of, so to speak, because he lives with his friend, roommate, a block up from the house that I own on Orange Grove. But it's this kind of tall, old, rickety apartment building. That'll come into play in a moment. So here we are dating, we're doing like the normal stuff. He's working at a very posh, to the point of a resort hotel in Beverly Hills. I think it was in like catering or something like that. He always looked nice. He was gorgeous. And he was very just enthusiastic about spending time together, and very happy affect, and very affectionate, but not like PDA, but like I like to be snagged and cuddled in my car around the tree in a parking lot when you come out of work and say hi to me. So it was all really kind of, I have thresholds, or had thresholds. And I'm not going to bore you to fucking tears about my dating life, as little as possible, only if it's relevant. But I had thresholds. First of all, you had to meet criteria, which were fucking out of whack anyway, and meaning like you had staying power in my ASD brain. Like you were the spaghetti that stuck to the wall. And then, then there's like, no like heavy duty rushing expectation. There's the attraction. You've crossed this threshold and that threshold, and you're not feeling this, that, and the other. So I'm not sabotaging it. So at that point, that's why I say this was starting to lean into potential partnership, but I met my husband.